So we're going to go ahead and continue our discussion of integers by discussing subtraction now. The previous section was addition, and we did a ton of examples, including homework with addition of integers. Before I do a quick little mini lesson, I want to tell you our objective today, which is to use and justify the rules for subtracting integers. So I'm going to show you a couple methods that will work nicely with subtracting integers. In particular, in the little mini lesson here, 2 ways to look at subtraction. And here we are. The first thing I want to discuss with you is subtraction is the same as adding a negative. And this is not meant to annoy you, because I know you really know what 8 minus 3 is. It's 5. But to look at it as what it is. It's addition of a negative. And in the previous section, we practiced questions like this, to the point of we should have achieved mastery. So 8 minus 3 is the same thing as saying 8 plus a negative 3. Same answer. It's just last section we talked about adding a negative, which is subtraction. In this particular section, when we see a question like this, this hopefully doesn't bother you too much. Maybe a question like this might bother you a little bit. Negative 8 minus 3. See, in this question, if you think of it as negative 8 and subtraction is the same as addition of a negative. And oh, I see now. It's like saying negative 8 and negative 3. So you see the same sign. So you can now add them and keep that negative sign. So these are different questions. This one and this one are different questions. But just to show you how subtraction can get a little squirrely here, and if you look at subtraction as addition of a negative, that might help you. Then there's this guy over here. We got the good old subtracting a negative. And subtracting a negative creates what we call the auto plus. So you must become skilled at recognizing the auto plus. The back-to-back minus signs, which we have here, minus a negative, is the same as saying plus. So this question becomes 8 plus 3, which is 11. So if you see anything that looks like this, 7 minus negative 1, that is an auto plus question. Subtracting a negative is an auto plus. 7 plus 1 is 8. And those are the 2 types of questions you'll see here, or the variety of questions, I should say. You've got the auto plus questions, and then you've got the subtraction questions with either negatives or just straight up a positive minus an integer. So let's get on with the lesson here. But before we do that, let me give you just a quick pre-test and see how you do. Let's have you do questions 1 through 8. I'm giving you a page of 32 questions. You can do all 32 if you like, but I'm going to discuss the first 8. So take a moment right now, pause the video, do questions 1 through 8 here, and we'll discuss the answers in a moment. And here we are. Numbers 1 through 8. 1 is negative 3, 2 is negative 20, 3 is negative 12, 4 is negative 25, 5 is 24, 6 is 21, 7 is negative 2, and 8 is negative 2. So just taking a quick glance here. Let's take a look at number 1, for example. We've got 14 minus 17. And as I mentioned just a second ago, subtraction, which is what we have here, 14 minus 17, subtraction is the same as adding a negative. So you can look at this question as 14 plus negative 17. 14 and 17. So 14 plus negative 17. Now these are different signs. 14 is positive, 17 is negative. I kind of see that up here a little bit too, to be honest with you. Isn't 14 right here positive? Do you see a negative in front of that? I don't see a negative in front of it, so it's got to be a positive 14. So it does say that in the original question. 14 is positive. Now what trips people up here is the 17. I really view that 17 as a negative. I know it says minus 17, but I could rewrite it as plus negative. So technically that 17 is a negative. And I know that if I have 17 negatives, 17 of them, and I only have 14 positives, well, my answer is going to be negative. And we know these are different signs. Different sign, that's a positive, and that's a negative. So different sign, just subtract them. 17 take away 14, which is 3. So the answer is going to be a negative 3, as it says right here. Okay, so this, once again, is going to take a little bit of practice. You have tons of questions here that you did, or if you've not done this yet, go ahead and go back and try these questions. I'm going to go through the textbook page with you. I will do a couple more here because I see some challenging questions here. I see even number 3 has a little circle around it itself. So let's take a look at number 3. Whoops. Alright, so number 3 says negative 4 minus 8. I'm going to rewrite that as negative 4 plus a negative 8. I'm going to keep on saying it, folks. Subtraction is the same as addition of the negative. Okay? So what we have here is negative 4 plus a negative 8. Negative 4 plus negative 8. And now I can see more clearly that we have a negative, and we're going to add a negative, so that's going to make a bigger negative, a negative 12. Same sign, you add and keep that sign, which is negative 12. And as you can see, the answer there is negative 12. Sometimes in class, people bring up the fact that you thought that a negative and a negative makes a positive. And a negative only make a positive when you're multiplying. So if you're a little confused and you're like, I still don't understand, I thought my teacher last year taught me that a negative and a negative make a positive. Well, that's for multiplication. And we are not multiplying here, we are subtracting. Another good one is number 5. We have minus a negative, which once again you need to become trained at viewing and seeing this as a positive. Subtracting a negative back to back there is an auto plus. So 14 plus 10, and that equals 24. And let's do one more. Let's do number 8. And number 8 says negative 11 auto plus. So negative 11 auto plus 9. Just make this into a plus sign. Now negative 11, positive 9, there are more negative 11 is a larger negative versus 9. So I know my answer is going to be negative, and 11 minus 9 is 2, so the answer is a negative 2. Let's go to the lesson. So if you all go to page, what we're looking at is page 45. I'm not going to teach this lesson using counters. I find subtraction using counters a little confusing, but I do want to at least talk a little bit about it here, and subtracting integers. This is section C. I'm going to kind of run through this rather quickly, and then jump into section D next, and finish off section 1-2. So here we go. Dolphins. At a local aquarium, a popular attraction features dolphins. Dolphins jump through rings that are 5 meters above the surface of the water. To prepare, they start from 6 meters below the surface of the water. What is the difference between the two distances? So if you think about it here, I'm going to do just a dolphin drawing off freehand here. Freehand dolphin. And beautiful little dolphin. A little nose. Perfect. And they start 6 meters below the surface of the water. So let's just say this is from here to here is 6 meters. Okay? And when they jump, they get 5 meters above the surface. So when they jump, they're kind of up here. And of course, my water is orange, but my Sky is blue. So 5 meters. So he's jumping, he swims up, and jumps. And now the dolphin is up here. Beautiful dolphin. Alright, so now he's 5 meters above the water. What is the difference between the two distances? If you think here, just in terms of thinking, he started down here, and now he's up here. So if you take the 6 and the 5, you get 11. Seems simple enough. They're going to explain it similarly. Well, they're going to use subtraction, but you're going to see how the book explains it. They say if you use counters to find 5 minus a negative 6, the difference between the two distances, so the difference of course means subtract, and the difference of 5 and 6, well, 5 and negative 6 because you're 6 meters below the surface, so you're below sea level 6 degrees, or 6 meters rather. So 5 minus a negative 6, which is 5 plus 6, which equals 11. We recognize this as auto plus. So you can see it can be a little confusing here, even using the counters. Now, a similar question is done on the back with counters. Here in question 2, we've got negative 6 minus negative 3. Now, if I'm answering this question, I'm thinking negative 6 minus negative 3. Well, first thing I want to replace is this part right here. And what am I going to replace that with? I'm going to make it an auto plus. And now the question says negative 6 plus 3. And if I'm solving this question, I understand that negative 6 is 6 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives. And I know that 3, that's positive. 1, 2, and 3. You can go ahead and make your 0 pairs. And that leaves you with 3 negatives left over, so your answer is negative 3. They kind of sort of explain it similarly. They say place 6 negative counters on the mat because you have 6 negatives right here. And remove 3 negatives because you're subtracting a negative, so you're going to remove them. And your answer is negative 3. So, you know, I mean, I'm kind of liking my way better, of course. This is my way. But if you grasp the book's explanation, go for it. If not, I would change it to what it really is. Minus a negative is an auto plus, plus 3, and so you have to remove 3. Next question, number 3. Number 3 says negative 5 minus 1. So you have negative 5, subtract 1. Well, earlier I said subtraction is the same as addition of a negative. So we're going to go ahead and make this a plus addition of a negative. That's what this is, subtraction. So we have a negative 5 plus a negative 1. Negative 5 counters, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 negatives. I'm going to add now, previous section, add a negative 1. Let's add a negative 1. And that puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 negatives, which you can see is the answer. Okay? Why don't you all try questions 1 through 8, and I will slowly write the answers down as you work them out. up. I think that's fighting me now. Alright, let's see here. -5. -10. That's -7 plus -3. This one's an auto plus. -5 plus 7, which is a +2. And number 8, -2 plus -9. Same sign, you add them, keep that sign. Okay, so I hope that helped a little bit. I kind of shared some of my thinking as I went along. Hopefully number 3 you recognize that was an auto plus, so 6 plus 3. Number 4, 5 plus -8, because we know subtraction is the same as addition of a negative. And we have different signs here. It's a positive, and it's a negative, and it's a -3. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Let's keep on going. So, only at 16 minutes here, but I think we're going to finish lesson a little early. If we go to the next page, on page 47, more of the same, just more practice, which is really the best way to get good at this is to practice. So, I'm going to just quickly go through the next few pages, and we're going to end this lesson a little bit early. So next page is page 47, still subtracting integers. As you can see in the upper part of the text here, we're on section D, the last section of 1-2, subtracting integers. Explore, you can use a number line to model a subtraction problem. Number 1 says, write a related addition sentence for the subtraction sentence. So we have here, you've gone from 0, you went down 7, it looks like, and then you went up 6, or you can think of it as 6 plus a -7 gets you -1. Let's see that. Oh, excuse me, it's hard to see this. I'm sorry, it looks like here they started at 0, went up 6, so that'd be 6. And they went down 7, so down 7. And that's not really a subtraction question. So how could we make this a subtraction question? Well, it says write an addition sentence. So even though we're in a subtraction section, they ask for an addition sentence. So it could be a little confusing. As you can see, I'm looking at it a few times going, I think we should keep this in the addition section. So how could we make this? I'll tell you what, let me ask you this question. How could we make this expression here into subtraction? 6 plus a -7 is the same as what? 6 minus 7. So as subtraction, that's what it would look like. As addition, it would look like this. Same question, just written differently. The answer is still going to be -1. Okay, let's skip down to right about here. When you see subtract 7, the result is the same as adding its opposite. Clear. 6 minus 7 equals -1 is the same as 6 plus a -7, which equals -1. Exactly what I just said. So subtraction is the same as adding its opposite or adding a negative. Good, and I'm glad to make that point here. Subtraction is the same as addition of a negative. Key concept, subtract integers. In words, to subtract an integer, add its opposite. Examples, 4 minus 9 equals -5, or 4 plus a -9 equals -5. Also, 7 minus -10 equals 17, or 7, what is this? Auto plus equals 17. So recognize the auto plus. More examples. Number 1, 8 minus 13, which we can write as 8 plus -13. And here we have -13. sort of outpowering positive 8, so we know our answer is going to be negative. And had we could have used counters. 8 counters would be positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have 13 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 negatives. So clearly the negatives will overtake the positives, giving us a negative answer. And different signs, it's a positive, it's a negative, so different signs just subtract. And 13 take away 8 is 5, so negative 5. Number 2, negative 7, or negative 10 minus 7, so negative 10 minus 7, which is negative 10 plus negative 7, which we see as the same sign, add and keep, negative 17. And if you're using counters, it's negative 10, negatives, and we're going to add now 7 more negatives. We have only negative counters here, so there's nothing to cancel out. There are no zero pairs. So the answer is going to be the sum of all these negatives, which is going to be negative 17. A, B, and C are the questions. Try those on your own right now. Trying to peek at my answers. Pause your video and I will reveal the answers in a moment. And there are your answers. A, B, and C. Now, I'm going to start speaking in terms of the last few questions the way I think. So the way I really think here is, you know what, for letter A, 6 minus 12. I have 6, I take away 12, I now owe 6. I have 6 is positive. To me, 6 is positive because I don't see anything in front of it. I know it's positive, there's no negative there, so it has to be positive. Then I see minus 12. Now I know that's a negative 12. I'm calling that negative 12. That sign really belongs to the 12. If that bothers you, just think of subtraction as what it really is, addition of a negative. So I know that if I have 6 and I take away 12, I'm gonna be in the negative. Negative what? Well, negative 6. Negative 6 because I got negative 12 and a positive 6. The way my brain is computing this is, well, I only got 6 positives and I've got 12 negatives. I mean, clearly, cancels. How many negatives do I have there? I have 6. So the more you practice this, the quicker, the more automatic this will become. If you look at B, B says negative 20 minus 15. Now I see only minuses here. I know I have all negatives because negative 20, indicated by the negative, is right here. Negative 20. This sign belongs to this number, so negative 20. So I'm in the negatives to begin with. And now you're going to take away from me 15, which is going to drop me even lower, so I know I'm going to be at negative 35. Once again, if that is not sort of jiving with your brain, just think about it. Negative 20 minus 15, and that's how you write it as an addition question. So you can see, same sign, negative 20, negative 15, add them and keep that sign. I owe 20, I owe 15. It's the same as saying this, because really that minus sign here belongs to the 15. That is a negative 15 and they cannot be separated. So the best I could do is I could write it as a plus, a negative 15, but you can still see the sign is there. So negative 35 is your answer. And then letter C, negative 22 and negative 26. Once again, that's going to be a bigger negative, negative 48. You want to rewrite it? No problem. Negative 22 plus negative 26. Addition is the same as, subtraction is the same as addition of a negative. So negative 48. Same sign. add, and keep. This sign belongs to this number. This sign belongs to this number. So really, our answer is going to be negative 48. And the last page, flipping over to page 48 now, we have this. I'll slide over a little bit. We've kind of seen this. We've talked about this. Number 3. We've got number 3, which says 1 minus negative 2. So this is sticking with the theme of the lesson, which is subtraction. And we're subtracting a negative. Hopefully something is going off in your brain right now saying, oh, subtracting a negative, that's an auto plus. What's the answer? 1 plus 2? Really easy. 3. Take a look at number 4 now. Number 4, we got negative 10, subtraction of a negative 7. Okay, once again we see the auto plus. It's just yelling at us. Auto plus. Auto plus. Bring down the negative 10. The 7 is now a positive. Negative 10 plus 7, well, I have more negatives than positives here because negative 10 is going to overpower the positive 7, giving me a negative 3. Different signs. Negative, positive. Different signs subtract. 10 minus 7 is 3, and I have more negatives than positives. If you don't believe me, draw your picture. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are more negatives than positives. Use zero sums. And what do you have left over? You have 3 negatives. Okay, I'm going to provide you with the answers for D, E, and F. So there they are. D is 16, E is negative 10, and F is 24. For the algebra portion of the lesson, it says evaluate an expression. Evaluate x minus y if x equals negative 6 and y equals negative 5. So x minus y, x is negative 6, minus y, which is negative 5. That minus sign is already there. The y is negative 5, so what I then have is negative and a minus, or a minus and a negative, which is a plus. A negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. First letter G, H, and I, go ahead and try on your own, and I will reveal the answers in a moment. So pause the video. And the answers are G is negative 18, H is 13, and I is negative 14. Let's do H. A minus B. Okay, A is 5, minus, and B is negative 8. Auto plus 13. Last question, just about the 30-minute mark here. The temperature on the moon vary from negative 173 degrees Celsius to 127 degrees Celsius. Find the difference between the maximum and minimum temperatures. This reminds me already of the first question we did with the dolphin. You know, at the lowest point, you're at negative 173. At the highest, you're at 127. What's the difference between the lowest and the highest? So what you're going to do there is you're going to do 127, subtract 173, a negative 173. So the difference between those temperatures is going to be the sum of 127 and 173, which equals 300. So if you're thinking about it, just like the dolphin question, below sea level, think of negative 173. Above 127, what's the difference between the two? We got to go up. 173 alone, you got to go up just to get to 0, 173 units or degrees. And then once you get there, you got to go up even higher till you get to 127. So really, it's 127 and 123 together, which gets you 300. Now, as far as your homework goes tonight, you need to do workbook page 13, 1 through 23 all. The next video will have me going through the homework, so if you're still a little confused, I can help you on the homework. Workbook page 13, 1 through 23 all.